Hi chums, this is just a little workshop update. I've had to change things around because I made a huge mistake. I had my lathe, you can see the lathe's up against a wall there, and the headstock's about 6 inches from the wall, but the tail is about 2 feet from the wall. That will allow me ease with swinging over the bed to get into a bowl, and if need be I can bring it out further. But what I had done was I had the lathe where I had the front of the lathe out here. Okay, I'll just point at the floor there, and the back of the lathe up here, which meant that I could walk in between the lathe and the wall and turn with my back to the wall, and then it's facing out the way, which is quite handy for people walking in, because if somebody walks in when I'm turning, I'm usually so involved in what I do, I get quite a shock when I see them, and it's not a good thing to get a shock when you're working at a lathe, you know. So I like that idea of having access or being able to see through the door for people walking in, but I'm going to have to just leave a lock in the door and let them knock it, because I can't take a risk of them walking in, because I do get a shock every time. I just get clued into something, and then everything else is important. I have this camera at about 5 foot, I don't know what, 9 or so, about the same height as my eyes. I'm over 6 foot now, about 6'1" or 2" or something, but it's about the same height as my eyes, to give you try and give you the impression of what you would see if you walked in here, you know, from that viewpoint. So what I did was I moved the lathe over, and I put the end of it coming out from the wall about 2 feet, and the headstock's quite close to the wall. But if I wanted, I can slide the headstock down the bed to do outboard turning or something, because I can move this stuff at the back, or I can turn the head 90 degrees and do the outboard turning in the middle of the lathe. So everything's going to be grand, you know. You can see at the bottom here, I've put in two red work boxes, toolboxes. They weren't that expensive. They were about, I don't know, about $110 each, and they're pretty good. When you put the lid down, it locks all the other drawers so that nothing can fall out, or somebody can't pull a drawer out if a thing tips over or something, you know, or if it tips over, the drawers won't come out. The only hassle is you can open the lid to get a drawer open, but it's not such a big deal. I've been using them in position for a while, and a quick blast with the airline just gets rid of all that, you know, all the dust on top of them, so it's not that hard to get into them, you know. So as I say, I've got the lathe on the left hand side now of the workshop. It's on my left as I look at it, and it's at the end of the shed. So everything's back in the place where it used to be for 6 or 7 years, and then I moved it out and made a mistake. If I swing round from there, you'll see the dust extraction, the drop box. The blue bin is a 40-gallon drum, and then above that there's a red traffic cone. And the business end is, if you see this white hose coming from the back of the lathe, that goes up into the traffic cone, the stuff drops into the drop box, and then this hose here that's coming out the top, that grey hose I think it is, comes down and over into the extractor there beside it on the right hand side, and then that goes into the bag in the extractor. I've had that for over a year now, and there's hardly a drop of dust inside the extractor. The drop box is a brilliant idea, because it means you having to keep fighting with that bag at the bottom of the extractor, which everybody hates, and it means that anything that goes into the lathe, anything you drop in by mistake, will go flying down into the drop box, but it won't get smashed to bits inside the lathe if it was something you needed, you know. So because extraction is quite powerful. And then if we look over here, there's another little lathe there, a little Axminster lathe. I'm going to move this assembly here and go over towards that, okay? Because there's something I want to do later on. So I'm just dropping this down a bit now. So as I say, that's a little Axminster lathe. It looks very like a little jet lathe, doesn't it? And the same colour. They're probably made in the same factory, you know. But it's a great little lathe. And why do you need two lathes? Well, there's one. There's why it's handy. Look, there's one lathe, and there's the other lathe, right? So they're 6 feet apart. I gained 6 feet by 7 by just moving the lathe back in again. All this tubing is from the extraction is going to go up onto the roof and across the beams, and I'll drop down to where I want, because I think I've found where I want to keep the machines now, and it'll look a lot better in a few days time, hopefully. My brother-in-law's in Canada at the moment, but he's going to help me with the extraction, and my mate Michael said he would help me as well. So if I get them two boys in here, and I just basically shackle them to the lathe until the work's done, and then they can go home, you know. So that'll be that. But as I say, I just want to let you see what it's at. I've got gained a lot of space. As you can see, a lot of stuff on the shelves. That has to be sorted, but it's more important to get space first. And then I can work with the rest from that, you know. As you see, the shelves are all full of everything, you know. And there's blanks up there. I've been sitting up there for like 6 years. So I'm sure they're dry by now, you know. But a lot of stuff has to be sorted out. So that's it. All I want to do is show you what I've done. I've basically got the little lathe all tidied up and cleaned up. It's very rusty looking. But I gave it a good sort of cleaning down and waxed it and everything. And it's working lovely. And the other lathe here is everything's in position. Another wee tip, guys. See the face shield hanging on the banjo? It means I can't forget to put it on. Okay? And then the 2 boxes at the bottom. That was a good idea, actually, putting the 2 boxes in, because it gives me extra weight in the lathe and keeps stuff organised, and I'm pretty bad at that, you know. So that's where we are. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video and do another one in a minute. That's just a little workshop update. Okay, thanks for watching now. All the best. Bye bye.